Hello everyone, welcome back to Agri Farming. Today we are going to discuss about growing herbs at home garden. We are going into the discussion of growing herbs in the backyard or container or pot of your home garden. Growing your own herbs is especially great because they don't take much space and little will go a long way into your food. There are many types of herbs gardens such as cooking herbs garden, medicinal, ornamental, colonial and fragrant. The right herbs complementing the right meal are often what creates the difference between good cooks and great cooks. So, let's get into the topic choosing a location for starting an herb garden. Most of the herbs grown at home need two things: sunlight and well-drained soil. This means that when considering placing in your yard to plant an herbs garden, you need to look for a location that gets 6 or more hours of sunlight a day and that is well drained. Herbs flourish under the same conditions that you provide for a flower or vegetable garden. While most herbs will develop a partial shade, it is better if the herb garden receives at least 4 to 6 hours of sunlight a day. You can plant your herbs on your pot or on container. A majority of herbs will grow well under a wide range of soil conditions with the exception of extremely wet, weakly drained soils. To develop soil fertility and tilth, add several bushels of compost per 100 square feet of soil before planting. Spade it into the soil carefully. In general, herbs do better in soil of low to medium fertility, so extra fertilizer applications are not needed. Soil with high fertility tend to make lots of foliage that is low in flavor. Where can I grow herbs? Natural light, south-facing windows have the brightest light and most hours of sun during the short, cool winter days. Good choice for these locations are plants that come from tropical and semi-tropical climates such as rosemary, thyme, basil, bay laurel, and oregano. You can also plant on east and west facing windows, receive bright sun for about 6 hours in the morning or afternoon, but east windows remain cooler. Good choices include mint, parsley, chives, and chervil, which thrives with less intense light and choose the cooler temperature. Grow lights. Full spectrum grow lights are perfect for all herbs. Placing plants within a foot of the bulbs or follow the instructions given by your lights. Start by having the lights on for about 12 to 16 hours a day for bright light plants and adjust as necessary. Let's get into the classification of herbs. Herbs are classified either as annuals, biennials, or perennial herbs. Annual herbs are generally grown from seed. They grow, flower, and produce seed during one season and then die. Biennial herbs develop for 2 seasons, flowering the second year only. Perennial herbs, once established, overwinter and flower each season. Some herbs are tender perennials. These do not survive severe winters and are best grown as annuals or overwinter indoors. Soil requirement for growing herbs in the home. Herbs require a well-drained soil that is not too rich. The soil must have a pH of 6 to 7 and contain a moderate amount of organic matter. Herbs are fast-growing, so your customers won't have to wait very long to get the taste and smells they crave. Depending on the type, herbs can thrive in the sun or shade, but the majority of them will need at least 6 or more hours sunlight a day. Once the location is decided upon, it's important to verify the surrounding soil. Be sure that whatever these herbs are planted, that they were well-drained soil and good watering practice and either a bit of compost or fertilizer around them. If the soil is heavy with clay or is sandy, add ample quantity of compost to the mix. If the soil is in fairly good condition, working a bit of compost into the soil will help provide it. In the added nutrition, the herb will grow. However, be sure to avoid composted manures when raising an herb garden. Typically, these are high in nitrogen, which can help create herbs grow more quickly, but it can reduce the flavors they produce. The next topic is propagation. Some herbs are propagated easy to start from seed, but others take a long time to germinate. Buy slow growers at a nursery or divide existing plants. In some cases, you can develop new plants from cuttings. So, how to plant herbs from seed? Before sowing any herb, whether in seed starting trays or directly in the garden, read the seed packet, which will give important information. Herbs that are easy to grow from seed will include basil, borage, cilantro, dill, parsley, and sage. How to grow herbs from division. Perennial herbs can be divided very easily. Use a garden fork to dig up the plant's root system, or either pull the whole root part by hand or cut the root mass into several pieces and replant them elsewhere in the garden. You can also put small divisions in pots to grow indoors through the winter. If the divisions are to be used outdoors, the best time to split falls when they are winding down for the year. When divided and replanted in autumn, plants get established faster. Perennial herbs that respond well to division includes bee balm, chives, garlic chives, oregano, and thyme. How to grow herbs from cutting. Stem cuttings of suitable herbs must be taken in spring or summer when plants are healthy and growing vigorously. Rosemary and tarragon tend to root better in the fall, so use them for cuttings at the time and grow them indoors over the winter. Herbs that are good from cuttings include lavender, mint, oregano, and sage. How to take cuttings. Select stem segments that are tender and about 6 to 3 inches long, with at least 5 leaves along the stem. Create an angled cut just above an outward-facing leaf node. Remove the flower leaves on the stem. Immerse the cut end in rooting hormone powder and plant it about 2 inches deep in a 4 inches pot of moistured potting soil, and also use vermiculite or perlite. Cover the cuttings loosely with plastic bag to create humid conditions and place them away from direct sunlight. Water the plants and water if needed. Remove the plastic bags if there seems to be too much moisture. After a week, confirm for new leaf growth, which indicates that the plants are rooting well. Report the plants into larger containers, fill with regular potting soil, and gradually expose the plants to full sun. So, let's get into how to care for herbs. Watering. Many herbs, particularly those native to Mediterranean climate, must have loose, fast-draining soil. Soggy soil, mainly in cooler winter temperatures, can be fatal to these plants. Plant rosemary, thyme, oregano, etc. in a blend of equal parts of cactus mix and regular potting soil. Allow the soil dry a bit before watering. Other herbs develop well in regular potting soil. Maintain soil slightly moist but not soggy. Fertilize herbs once or twice a month with a liquid houseplant fertilizer. Some herbs can easily grow at home backyard, such as dhania or coriander, spearmint or pudina, curry leaves or curry patta, dill or sojwa bhaji, rosemary, basil, peppermint, chives, etc. Now, since the herbs is well grown, let's get into harvesting. Herbs respond well to harvesting and will actually grow thicker and bushier with frequent snipping. For best results, harvest in the morning time using a pair of garden shears or kitchen scissors. Never remove more than 1/3 of the plant so that it can recuperate and continue growing throughout the season. And know the herbs taste best before flowering. By pinching black basil as soon as you see blooms beginning to form, for instance, extend the herb's harvesting life. After harvesting the herbs, you can keep it for storage by drying. There are few different drying processes that can use before storing your herbs. The drying processes is just as important as the cultivation of the plant, as much oils and flavors can be lost during the process. So, the first one is air drying. Air drying involves simply hanging the plants upside down for about 1 to 2 weeks, and it is a traditional means of herb drying. This process is flavored by most people because as the plant hangs upside down, the oils and flavor are pulled into the leaves by gravity. Place the harvested plants in a paper bag will help them retain the oils while gradually letting unwanted moisture evaporate. Placing them in the dark while the dry will ensure a high flavor herbs. The next is oven drying. Oven drying can be completed using either a conventional oven or a microwave oven. This is done by cooking the harvested leaves for a short period of time. For a conventional oven, this is done on a low heat for 2 to 4 hours. For microwave oven, they are cooked for about 3 to 4 minutes. The next is salt drying. Salt drying involves placing harvested leaves in a tray of non-iodized table salt for about 2 to 4 weeks. This process can only be used on non-hairy leaves but can result in a uniquely flavored herb. By drying, the herbs are then cleaned, free from any remaining salt, and then stored in a glass container. How to store your drying herbs. After the drying process, all herbs must be either ground down to fine powder or they can store in airtight containers. For about the first week of storage, it is very important to inspect the stored herbs daily to see if there are any signs of moisture such as water droplets within the container or at worst, growing mold. Let's get into some of the tips on how to grow herbs at home. Before buying plants or bringing them in from your garden, check the pest. Aphids, spider mites, and scale are common on many herbs. Aphids and scale create sticky droppings around the plant. Spider mites make fine webs on and between the leaves. If you find this pest, you can wash them off temporarily with tepid soapy water, but it's best to start with pest-free plant. To prevent problems, avoid crowding the plants. Try to ensure good airflow each one around. The second tip is you can grow your herbs in natural light and under glow lights. South-facing windows have the brightest light and some hours of sun during the short or cool winter days. These are good choices for natural light. For underglow lights, full-spectrum glow lights are ideal for all herbs. Place plants within a foot of the bulbs or follow the instruction provided with your lights. The third tip is, while watering your herbs, try not to touch the leaves as it will help to grow molds and fungi. That's all folks for today. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe to this channel and please ring the bell button to notify you whenever new video is uploaded. Thank you for watching.